All right. Um, what's up, guys? It's Jake again, back here for week 2 of On the Rise Music Podcast. Today's guest, we have lo-fi hip-hop producer known as Cold Brew. Welcoming on. How's it going, man?
What up? It's going good. Going good. How are you?
Just hanging in, trying to do stuff to keep me busy, designing
For
some
sure.
clothes, messing around.
Are you guys quarantined
Yeah.
where you're
So
at
me
still?
and Tommy, we're in California, so it's pretty strict here. So that's literally why we're doing all this stuff on Zoom. But yeah, we're just trying to make the most out of it, do what we can, and do something for the culture. You know what I'm saying?
For sure. For sure.
All right, man. First question. Who exactly is your first or who are your first inspirations that inspired you to really get into music?
For just music in general,
Yeah.
my uncle Jake gave me my first guitar whenever I was like 3 years old.
Okay.
And so then I started like banging around the guitar. My parents had me take lessons. Um, and because they were just tired of hearing me bang around on it, they wanted me to actually
Yeah.
play something. So I started taking guitar lessons around probably like 5 or 6. And then I took guitar lessons till I was around 11, 12, roughly, something like that. And then started playing drums around the age of 12, and then wanted to start like doing drum covers on YouTube. And so I had to learn how to like produce music, to engineer my drum audio to make my quality of my videos better. And then through that, I started learning how to produce. Um, and then, yeah, I mean, kind of the rest is history. But as far as just like, I feel like I have influences from everywhere. I mean, all genres, everything.
Yeah.
Like, it all influences everything.
Yeah, it makes sense. I mean, you make lo-fi hip hop beats. It's huge. Like that draws from everything. It draws from like old school hip hop. It draws from like new trap and even like R&B. Like what else? Folk rock. All like everything. So yeah,
For sure.
I
It's
can
like a
see
melting pot.
exactly. Um, so like from what I know is that you literally just only make a living or you can like solely support yourself off of this. So what's that like? Like when did that moment come that you were like, dude, I can quit. I cannot like, I can start focusing so much more energy into this and and like just being able to support myself off of it. Like when did that moment come and how does it feel? Like, is it
It's
like a dream
crazy,
or?
bro. Yeah, for sure. So, I mean, like I said, I've been doing music my whole life, the end goal always being that, like, I want to support myself and be able to live off of my music.
Oh, of course.
And I just became full time. Like, um, I made as much as I needed to make to be able to pay my bills and live and everything, in March or April,
Wow.
somewhere around there. And that was like the first month that I was able to produce full time. But I've been self-employed for like 2 years almost now.
Mhm.
Ever since I got out of high school, pretty much. I lived with my parents for like a year out of high school, and then I moved out last August. And so since then, I guess you could say I've been full time self-employed. But yeah, as far as producer, I've been producing music full time just for a few months now. But yeah, it's definitely crazy. It's like it went from just like, Cold Brew, I've only been producing music under Cold Brew for a little over a year now. I started
Okay.
last May that's whenever I released my first beat tape. But I'm the Welcome to My Mind EP, which was the first tape that I released, was actually tracks that I made like back whenever I was 15. And it was
Oh,
just, I called them ambient beats. I didn't know what to call them, because
yeah.
I didn't know lo-fi was a thing. I was just like making instrumental music that I thought sounded cool. And I didn't put it out anywhere. I just had it on private SoundCloud links. I like sent it to my parents so they could listen to it when they were chilling. And then my girlfriend, and so that's pretty much all that was the only people who was listening to it, because I didn't know there was an audience. And then one of my friends in high school showed me Bootleg Boy,
Okay.
and it was the No Sleep mix. And that was like whenever I recognized, like, whoa, there's actually an audience for this. Like, this is really cool, pairing it with the visuals, and like there's a whole audience here. And so then I decided to release 6 of my what I thought were my best tracks that I had made, and I made it into the Welcome to My Mind EP that released at the end of last May, so May 2019. And then, I mean, it just goes on from there. Like I started doing a release every 2 weeks, every month or so, and just been putting out music under Cold Brew ever since then.
Damn, okay. That's really interesting. Now, because you produce like lo-fi beats, are you familiar with the what do you call it? The bedroom pop movement? And like, have you ever
Yeah.
sold any beats like to artists, or are you just making them solely just for beats?
No, I haven't leased any beats out. I've thought about it a few times, but I don't know. It's just that's like difficult because I really want to like I'm more of a collaborator,
Okay.
and so like if somebody reached out to me that wants to be on a track or they like a beat or whatever, I'd rather like make a collaboration and something new
Hmm.
because my beats that I'm making, I'm making them for however like a lot of people I know listen to lo-fi and they like freestyle over it.
Yeah.
And that's like super dope. And people can feel free to do that with my beats, but like I'm not making my beats to sell them. I'm just making them for people to, vibe to and
Yeah.
do whatever. But if somebody wanted to do a beat with me and they wanted to rap on it, then I would rather like start fresh and like really do a collaboration. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I
Is
feel
the
that.
light too dark on my face over here?
Oh no, you're fine. I see
Okay,
you
cool.
fine. No, yeah, you're good. Now you mentioned you have a girlfriend. What's her name and how long have you guys been dating?
Her name's Gabby. We've been dating for 2 years now, just about. Um, yeah.
So she's seen your progression then, huh?
Oh, for sure. Yeah,
That's
definitely.
pretty crazy.
Because she was there whenever like I was trying to figure out the name that I was gonna have for my lo-fi alias, and I was like, what should I do? And then I text her and I was like, cold brew. I love cold brew. I was thinking like coffee shop vibes.
Exactly. Yeah.
Um, and I was like, cold brew. I was thinking espresso, and I was like, no, that doesn't have a ring to it. And I was like, cold brew, all lowercase, all one word. I pictured it in my head, and I texted her, and she was like, that's it. And then I went and I uploaded the first EP literally within an hour of coming up with the name. Um,
Damn. So shout out to
and
Gabby then.
yeah, shout out Gabby. Shout out Gabby.
Yeah, I have the same exact thing. Like, I just do like I do on the side, just design clothing and stuff, and I'll send stuff to my girlfriend too, and then she'll be. I'm guessing she's one of your biggest supporters then, if that's the case.
Oh, for sure. Yeah,
Yeah, and they,
definitely. She listens to she has to listen to lo-fi beats all the time.
maybe she's tired of it.
I don't think. I mean, yeah, but what's crazy is that she gets like, and me too, is that we just you get in such a zone. You know what I
Oh,
mean?
I know what you're saying.
And so like I listen to my music and I'm like, this is garbage. This is like hot trash. And then you just take a step back and then you like listen to I listen to some of my old stuff and I'm like, oh, this is actually kind of good. Like
Yeah.
listening back to it, it's just because you hear the same songs, a
Hmm.
100 times.
Yeah,
So
it's the same thing like saying a word over and over again. You're like, oh, this just sounds weird. And then you take a step back, exactly, look at it from a different perspective, and you're like, wow, I was onto something here.
yeah, totally.
Was there ever a moment when you were like producing where you were just like really frustrated and you thought about, or like even music making? Because I know you said you started from a really young age. Was there like ever a moment when you just like hit like a block in the road or like just a roadblock and was just like, I don't know where how to get past this. I just kind of want to give up.
Bro, multiple moments. It's not just one, like, it's, like, all the time, man, until because think about it, you're, like whenever you're producing music or, just creative in
Hmm.
general, like, you're trying to pursue a creative career, it's so frustrating
Oh
because
yeah.
there's no cut way of, like, how it's gonna go, like, it's different for everybody,
Hmm.
and so it's just yeah, I can't really, like, name specific moments because I don't know. It's just like all the time you're just in your head. You're like, is this actually going to work out? Like there's a 0.001% chance that this is going to actually work and become your job. So like, there's a lot of times where you think like, what am I doing? Is it worth it? Especially
Yeah,
if there's like,
definitely.
Like if you have no one listening, you know? I
Mhm.
mean, that's like the hardest thing because then it's like, who are you even doing this for? But then you really have to think like what got me through it is doing it for yourself. And that's
Exactly.
whenever everything took off is whenever I was just making music for myself and just making stuff that I thought was cool and not worrying about anything else. And that's what ended up working. Um, yeah, I don't know. As far as a particular moment, I just know that it happens. And um, at the end of the day, you just have to think like anyone that's pursuing their passion or pursuing their dream or whatever, the only way that it's not going to happen is if you stop.
Exactly.
There's no one in the world that has pursued their dreams for their entire life and then died without getting their dream. And I mean like actually pursuing it, like working
Oh,
on it
yeah.
multiple hours a day. There is no one that hasn't reached their goals if that's what they're actively pursuing. You know what I mean? Now if you're like I want to be a full-time producer and you're not producing except for maybe once a week, then you're messing up. Like you've got to spend every waking hour. Like you've got to stop going out to the club. You know what I mean? You've got to
Exactly,
put in the
exactly.
time, and it takes a grind. It takes a lot of work,
Oh, definitely.
but it will pay off. And if that's what you really want, then it'll happen
Yeah, dude, that's
for sure.
crazy that you just said that. I literally got chills because that's exactly what I'm saying. Like, I same thing with like fashion, same thing with this. Like, if you just do it like when you do when you feel like doing it, when you have free time, like you're not gonna go anywhere. That's when it gets
That's a
frustrating.
hobby.
Exactly,
That's
because
what a
then
hobby
it's
is.
not. Yeah, it's not a passion.
Yeah,
So there comes a point when you're like, dude, I just gotta invest. I just gotta take whatever time I have and just yeah, like you said, like skip out on the club, skip out going out with friends, skip out smoking with friends, hanging out with friends. Like, dude, if you're really passionate about something, just do it. And it's crazy to see that that exact mindset that you had brought you to where you are today. I mean, there's always
for
room to
sure.
grow, but shit, dude, you came far. You're making a living off of it. Like that's crazy. Like shout out to
And
you.
well, thank you. And another big part of it that like I've never done with music in the past or anything, and it's like it's hard to do it, but you really have to focus on your music as
Mhm.
a business.
Oh,
And you
definitely.
have to think about it like if you're gonna make because if you want it to be a hobby, then that is totally fine. There's really nothing wrong with
Yeah.
having hobbies.
Oh,
Like
definitely
for
not.
me, I like to play Rocket League as my hobby, right? But I'm not trying to become professional at it. But then there's
Yeah.
other people that want to be professionals. But you know what I'm saying is it's like it's not bad for it to be a hobby. But if you want to make it a career, you have to think of it like a business because
Mhm.
that's what it is.
Exactly.
And so it also has to do with like maybe paying for some Instagram ads. Like
Exactly. You gotta
I
do
mean,
something.
you've got to exactly. And if no one's seeing your stuff, then you got to put it in front of them,
Mhm.
and a way you can do that is paying for ads. But a lot of people just are afraid to like talk about that stuff because they don't want to associate like money and music. You know what I mean? But I mean
Yeah.
that's all. That's all that it is. It's just like you got to focus on the business side of it as well as the creative side of it. They're both
Mhm.
equally important. Without the creative side, you won't have great songs. And without the
Definitely.
business side, no one will hear your great songs. So
Oh,
you've got to like
definitely.
try and yeah, you've got to try to balance those, which I feel like that's really the hardest thing. But
Mhm.
yeah. Mm.
Now, yeah, I understand you also started a new DJ collective or like a record label. It's called
Yeah, it's a
Nice
label.
Brew, correct?
Say that again.
It's called Nice Brew, correct?
Kind Brew.
Oh, Kind Brew, my bad.
Kind Brew.
Um,
Yeah, no problem.
yeah, you want to talk about that a little bit and like where like the message and like what you're trying to put out with that?
For sure. So Kind Brew is the mission statement is brewing kindness one beat tape at a time.
Hmm.
And so initially going into it, like what I'm planning to do and what I am doing is putting out a compilation every 3 to 6 months. I'm not sure yet. I'm working on the first comp right now. Actually, today was the deadline for submissions. And I think I have around 32, 33 different artists on this first
Okay.
comp. Um, but yeah, it's going to be super sick. And I'm also going to be releasing a couple singles with artists here and there. For me, I'm like real picky with releasing singles because I want it to really be a track that can stand alone. Like somebody can listen to it, just the one song, and be satisfied.
Hmm.
But mainly for instrumentals, I'm just focused on, like I said, like releasing the mission statement being brewing kindness one beat tape at a time. I'm focused on signing EPs and albums, and then also putting out the compilation, the Kind Brew compilations. Um, but yeah, I just started the label like maybe 2 months ago, probably about 1.5, 2 months ago. Um,
Okay.
but but it's really going well, and yeah, definitely.
So you hit the ground running then. Like there's no stopping you at this point.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, I literally was like, because just being in the scene, I've met so many awesome producers and just awesome people, and so I had the idea probably like 5 months ago, and then I was really tossing and turning on it, like, how can I be different than other labels? I
Hmm.
have to be able to offer something. Like, I'm not trying to take a percentage and not offer the percentage that I'm taking. Like, I want to be able to really help artists because there's so much good music out there that just isn't being heard by people. And
Definitely.
so I want to be like the business end of helping artists with great music get heard. And I mean, I feel like that's a cliche, like every label says that, but like I'm serious, like that's what I'm trying to do. Um and yeah, so I started reaching out to artists. I reached out to probably like 20 artists that I knew, talked to them about it. Um, and then the first Kind Brew comp was born. I started getting like logos worked up. Right now, I'm working on some merch designs.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, that's how it started. So it's really been a process of like 5 months, but the label was only officially announced like a month and a half, 2 months ago.
Okay. Yeah, you got to move in silence before anyone else. To keep
For sure.
everyone on their toes. Now you mentioned like merch designing. Are you like when did you really start to get into like designing merch for yourself? And like on top of that, who or like what inspired you and what are your muses for like the merch? Like are you going more like a fashion end or just like you're just like a t-shirt with like a logo on just so people can get around to it?
I don't do designs, but I reach out to designers.
Okay.
And so I have a designer in the UK that's designing the Kind Brew merch
Hmm.
um, for this. So this design is going to be like a coffee cup. First time anybody's gonna be hearing this, it's gonna be a coffee
Oh,
cup
here we go. Listen
um,
up, everybody.
with a flower growing out of the coffee cup, and that's
Okay.
going to be the design. So
That's fire.
I'm going for more because I am a big fan of like fashion and just street fashion in general, and I want the merch to be something that could be worn even if somebody didn't know the label. And
No, I
so
get
I'm not trying to make like merch.
Yeah,
You
you're
know what
trying
I
to
mean?
make
Like
like a
it
state or
is
not a
merch.
yeah,
It
you're
is
trying to
merch,
make
but I'm trying to make more of a brand. You know what I
exactly.
mean?
Yeah, yeah, I get what you're saying.
And so it's not just going to be like Kind Brew slapped on a t-shirt for 25 bucks. Like it's going to like I'm paying the designer for his time and it's
Hmm.
going to be like legit.
Yeah, that's what's up. That's what's up. Did you just start that with Kind Brew, or have you been like pushing for merch like when you were just with Cold Brew?
All of my cold brew merch is just stuff that I've designed myself.
Okay.
It's nothing. Kind Brew doesn't have any merch that's like crazy or would require any like designer. I mean, it's I've got embroidered hoodies that say cold brew in the middle.
Hmm.
Um, but I don't have any like serious Kind Brew branded merch just because um, I'm just kind of waiting for a bigger audience for Kind Brew merch. But I am, or for cold brew merch. Sorry, I got them mixed
No,
up.
no worries.
Um, but I am planning on doing vinyls for my next album.
Oh, okay. That'll be kind of
So
hard.
that'll be sick. I'm not going to release anything about that yet, but the album will be coming around like September. Um, and I'm going to start releasing singles from it in August.
All right.
But yeah, I'm planning on doing vinyl run for that. And I feel like that will be the best way with cold brew as far as physical items, because vinyls, they'll get art, you know what I mean? And you can
Hmm.
also, if you have a record player, then you can play it. And if not, then you've got like a collectible
Yeah, you still
It'll
got
be
some
one
to
in
put up on your
100.
wall.
I'll only be printing 100 vinyls.
Oh, there you go. So you got the resale value driving up.
Yeah, for sure, for sure.
Now you mentioned you were like big in, or you were like a fan of streetwear. Is there any brand in particular, or is there like any piece? Because like I'm a huge streetwear fanatic. Like that's where I'm getting like my fashion inspiration from. That's where like
For
basically the
sure.
last probably 4 or 5 years of my life, ever since the Life of Pablo came out, I've just been about streetwear. So like,
That,
is there any
yeah.
piece that you've been like looking at that you've like bought with the money that you've earned, or that you're still like looking at that you want to buy that you've dreamed about like since before you got like pretty big?
So right now, like my biggest wish list is some off-white stuff.
Okay.
I really like off-white sweaters. I don't own any off-white right now. But my favorite brand that I have right now is Stussy. I've
Okay. Yeah.
got
Classic.
like this is a new, this one is
Ooh.
new.
Okay.
Um, I like Yeezy. I just got a pair of the Yeezy 500 salts.
Yes. I have two
And
pairs of those.
I really like those. They're
So
like super
comfortable.
comfy. Yeah,
Yes.
for
They're
sure.
crazy looking
So
shoes.
comfy. It's ridiculous. I have some Calabasas too. Um, let me think. Other brands. I don't know. I like some stuff that Supreme puts out. But I've never like I don't really want anything that's like really like supreme in your face.
Oh,
I'm
definitely.
more of a fan of like minimal stuff. That's why I'm a big fan of Off-White is a lot of their stuff is just like
Yeah.
very
Super
low key
minimalistic.
and then
Yeah.
it's like if you know then you know, but if you don't
Exactly.
know then it just looks
Yeah.
slick.
It's just it
You know what
looks
I mean?
clean. Yeah, I know what you're saying.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's like my stuff that I really like.
Okay, yeah, I fuck with that. Yeah, I just got the Yeezy slides like a couple weeks ago. Have not stopped wearing them, dude. If you
Are
like,
they
they
comfy,
really, oh
bro?
my god, like break them in, and they're like they start off really stiff because it's just here. I'll show you right now. I'm actually wearing them, but like they start off because it's just a single piece of
Are
like
those the
rubber.
bone ones?
Yeah, these are the bones. I got them on eBay for like some like they were used, but I was like twice, and they look brand new. So I was like, dude, I'm not paying 220 for them. But
Dude,
like
I've been looking at those slides. I've been thinking about getting them. They're
yeah,
good, worth
cop
it.
them. You got to break them in though. I wore them the first week I had them. I wore them without socks, and because I mean they're slides, and I
Yeah.
got like a really nasty blister, like on like my arch of my foot, like where right where the top of the slide meets with like the foot, and it was
Uh-huh.
just like really bad. So I didn't wear them for like a day or two, and then I just kept wearing them with socks. Broke them in, softened up the rubber. Best shoe ever. I'm planning on wearing these up until I move back to Arizona for classes
Heck
every
yeah,
day.
bro.
It's the quarantine fit,
They look like just like looking at them, I'm like, those things look comfy.
dude.
Like they
They're
look like they gotta be like
yeah,
the comfiest slides out for
they're
sure.
coming out with two new pairs in August or September, and I'm trying to cop. I'm trying to cop both pairs for me and then one pair for my girlfriend. Because you got to
I just
get
saw a pair of boots that they said they were dropping in September too. I forgot what they were called. I have it. I took a picture. Oh, Azrael?
yeah. Are
Azrael?
those the
I
380s
don't
or the
know.
350s?
350s.
Okay, yeah, I had a pair of I sold my 350s. I had the crazy my best friend in college. He transferred out unfortunately, so that was a tough time for me. But I was with him, and I was like, "Hey man, you're a really big sneakerhead. Like, you give me some Yeezys. Like, here's my price range. I'll pay anywhere between like retail and like $400." And he was,
Yeah.
which is like for like 2018, I think it was. That was like, if you could find a pair of Yeezys under $400, that's a steal. And he
Yeah.
was like, "All right, I'm gonna make it a job of mine." Comes back to me within like a couple of days, and he's like, "Hey man, so I found a dude selling, like a friend of mine selling them for like 365 or 375. I offered him 365. He's like, if you're ready, I was like, send me the PayPal. I'll pay him right now. Wore him a little bit. Dude, I had to change how I walked because like the way that the heel is, I was like messing up the heel. I get like really bad heel drag. Because I wanted to sell them. I wanted to hold like have them
I've
hold
never
their
even
value.
worn a pair of boots before, so I don't know.
They're crazy. They're really stiff. You have to break them in. They take a lot. They take a while to break in, but once you get them, it's super comfortable. But yeah, I was like a terrible heel drag, and ended up selling them. I sold them for $100 less than what I bought them for. But even then, I was like, dude, I got a whole lot of life out of them. But
Still
yeah,
though.
Yeezy,
Yeah.
Yeezy knows what he's doing.
Mhm.
Kanye's the goat. Is he like one
Where
of
the
your inspirations?
Calabasas and the 500s that I own are the two most comfortable shoes that
Dude,
I
I'm
own,
saying I'm
hands
trying to
down.
get 700s next. Those are
Oh
I've been
yeah,
looking at
those
those
are
for like a minute. But yeah, I'm gonna buy those. Not before I buy my own custom shoe. You know, I had to hop on the Jordan 1 trend.
okay,
A
for
pair of
sure.
it's part of my brand atrocities. Yeah, we got it, or it's just me. It was my boy, but he kind of like my friend, the one who transferred. So it's been hard to work with him. So I've just been doing stuff on my own. But yeah, I found the right manufacturer. I've been talking to him. Gotta wait for a sample pair to be made. But I mean, hey, you might be wearing a pair too in a couple of months,
Bet.
3 4 months.
Yeah.
Yeah, just wait on those. But yeah, is Kanye like a huge inspiration to your music? Like what he's doing, like has he's grown, or is it just kind of like you just like him for the fashion?
I think Kanye's dope. But his music, I haven't really like I've never really been a big fan of his music, but
Hmm.
I really like what he's doing with the gosh, what's that called? The like
Oh,
Sunday
Sunday
service.
service.
Sunday service. I really like what he's doing there. And I'm not a really big religious person, but I just really like what he's doing. And I think that he is like one of the most creative people,
Hmm.
period. But I've never really been a big fan of his music, but I'm a really fan of him as a person.
Oh,
Like
definitely.
I think that he's just really creative, and I think he's really innovative. That's the word.
Yeah,
Um,
some people don't like him, but it's like, hey, that's the point. He wants you to have a reaction.
yeah, for sure. And I mean, it's you can't get everybody to like you. And
Definitely.
anytime, if you look anytime in history with artists, there's just like the best artists have lots of controversy around them. And
Hmm.
if your art isn't sparking controversy, then it's very impactful whenever it has controversy.
Definitely.
Um, but yeah, I mean, Kanye's Kanye. I mean, what can you say?
For real, that's the
Really?
best way to describe him.
Yeah.
um, So, what's your favorite instrument when you produce music, or do you just like do you basically what I'm trying to say is do you create like riffs, guitar riffs, or whatever it may be, like off of an organic instrument, or do you do it like digitally with like GarageBand or whatever software you use?
Yeah, I have a guitar here. Where's my it's guitar is over there. But I'll play guitar. But a lot of times like I'll just collaborate with other artists or I'll use samples or I just play digital instruments. I
Okay.
have a Ableton Push. It's
Oh,
my
gotcha.
Ableton Push is
Yeah.
like my biggest tool that I use.
Hmm.
And so I pretty much I play drums on that. I'll lay down keys on that. I also have a controller over here that's just keys,
Okay.
and then my guitar. But yeah, I mean that's pretty much all I use. I use Ableton. I don't know if I said that already, but yeah, I use Ableton. Um, that's pretty much it. I mean, it's a very simple setup.
Yeah.
And really, I don't even need a guitar or this controller. Like, really, all I need is Ableton and the Ableton Push.
Okay.
And with those two things, I can make hundreds of songs. Like, I don't need anything else. No one needs anything else.
Yeah. Honestly.
If you get other stuff, that's the thing with producers though, is you just can't stop getting new gear. Like,
Oh,
you just can't. It's
trust
just
me. Yeah.
fun. It's just fun to get new gear and play around with it. But like logistically speaking, you can do everything with the Ableton Push that you can do with any piece of gear. I mean, it's a mixer too, so you don't even
Yeah.
need to get a
Exactly.
mixer. Like, it's built in. It's literally all in one. But
Yeah.
am I going to keep buying new gear? Of course,
Oh, of
because it's
course.
fun to play with.
Yeah.
But I don't. I all I need is my computer, Ableton, and Ableton Push.
Yeah. I have a friend of mine or I have actually two good friends of mine they're really big into producing. And one of my friends, he every time he gets something new, he's like, "Yo, come over. Like, you don't have to do anything. I'm just gonna make beats and just show you how it works." And it's like, all right, man. Like, it's fun. I mean, it's fun being there, seeing him like mess around. So yeah, I totally understand what you're saying. It's just like, hey, it's there, and I want it, so I'm gonna get it and do something crazy with it.
Yeah, for sure. It's just it's fun.
Yeah.
I mean,
Oh, trust me, I
what
get
it
it.
is. And if like whenever I find myself getting frustrated or not having fun, then that's whenever I take like a week break.
Hmm.
Usually I literally like I think the longest break I've taken in the past year from not making a beat is probably a week and just like
Okay.
7 days. And then I come back and I'm like super fresh, like ultra fresh, like a
Yeah.
newborn baby just about to produce. And I'm like ready to go. And then usually I'll spit out a track in like 1 2 hours and I'll be like, wow, that track is so fire. Like that's just it's just how it is. Sometimes you get burnt out and you just got to take a break.
Oh, I
And
get it.
taking a break is just as useful as grinding.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, you got to know when the right time is to step back. Like not permanently, but that time is
Yeah,
going to come too. But I mean, even then, like you got to know like when you've exhausted yourself and you're like, okay, I got to take a step back, do something mindless for a little bit, figure out like direction I wanted to go, or just forget about it and then come back to it. So yeah,
for sure.
a friend of mine does that too. Like when he has like when he gets stressed out with school, he's like, dude, I can't make music, so I'm just gonna like stop for like I'm not gonna say how long, but I'm gonna stop until I feel ready again. In a couple of days, he's back to producing. So
Yeah, definitely.
now I know we could chop it up all day. We've been talking like buddies for the past like I don't know however long we've been talking.
Yeah,
I'm not gonna lie, I've had a great time. It's really interesting hearing like
same
the
here.
same exact stuff that I have to say about like just going forward like with what you want to do as a career like that you had as a hobby and you just want to push it into a career. It's really sick seeing hearing people have the same exact vision, same exact understanding of how just stuff works. But final question, as a producer and former DJ, do you have any advice for newer artists or newer DJs producers that are trying to make their break?
Any advice?
Yes,
Um,
could be anything.
yeah, I mean, just like I said earlier, just like keep doing it.
Hmm.
And like it's really important. I hear a lot of producers say this, like you got to find your sound and find your flow. But saying that isn't really advice because there's not really a way that you can just find your flow. You know what I mean? Like there's no
Yeah.
secret to it. Literally, the way that I found like my style, my flow was just from producing for like 5 hours a day. I mean, it's
Experience
like
and stuff.
sometimes
Yeah,
you
I get
just
it.
are in the zone. And I mean, you'll like, I've had nights, I made a whole album in like a day one time.
Wow.
And I mean, it was literally like a full day. Like, I didn't go to sleep till 3 or 4 in the morning. Like, it's a full day, but you just get on a roll and, you find your sound just by experimenting. And so nothing's off limits. Don't try to sound like anybody else. Um, but also don't try to not sound like anybody else.
Yeah, just
if
be
that
natural.
if that makes any sense, because
No, I get what you're
like
saying.
just make what sounds cool to you. And if it sounds a little bit like somebody else, who cares? Like you made it. um I don't know what I'm really trying to say here. I'm just trying to say, um keep doing it and it will all come in due time, and treat it like a business. If you want to make it full time and if you want it to be a hobby, then just treat it like a hobby. um but yeah, I think that's it. I think that's all I got.
Amen. Couldn't have said it better myself. Literally took the words right out of my mouth. But yeah, this concludes our second episode of On the Rise Music. Thank you again to our buddy and now good friend, Cold Brew Music. Watch out for his album coming out in September, correct?
Yeah, and I've got new releases coming basically every week, every 2 weeks up until then. Um, I've got a couple releases coming out with Chill Beats. Trying to think, I've got one coming out with Aviary Bridge. I'm missing anybody? I've got a collab with Kick Tracks coming out towards the end of July, and then I'm gonna start dropping singles from the record. So
There you go. All right, everybody, listen to his music while you're doing whatever you want to do, while you're kicking it with your lady, while you're working out, reading, whatever it may be. Especially now since you got nothing else to do, so just throw in his music.
for sure,
All right, man. Thank you again. Happy Juneteenth to everybody. We're gonna
yeah,
start. Yeah, we're gonna start. Black Lives Matter. You know, everything.
for
Everyone.
sure.
Everyone needs to start being real inclusive.
Yes, Black Lives
And
Matter.
stand in solidarity with you. Heard it here first. All right. Thank you, Cold Brew, and we look forward to speaking with you soon.
Sounds good, man. Take it easy.
You too.